a world-famous event that many people from across India and outside usually flock to. At the Ambavilla Palace in Mysore that you see before your eyes, this is the Dasara celebration, the Nada Habba of the state of Karnataka. I am Vasanti Hariprakash and I have great pleasure in welcoming you to these festivities. Over the next few minutes, we will see that how despite COVID, the spirit of the festival of Dasara remains unbeaten. For all those of you who are probably viewing it for the very first time, let me also tell you, 9 nights of Navaratri, and on the 10th day, as it is today, Vijayadashami, a festival that marks the celebration of the victory of good over evil. There are many legends associated with this festival. It is believed that goddess Chamundeshwari, also known as Durga, slayed the demon Mahishasura. And in fact, that is what gives the city its name, Mahishuru or Mysuru. As far as the festivities of Dasara is concerned, there are many cultural activities that go on during these 10 days. Though this year, of course, due to COVID, many of those have been scaled down. But I must say that the Jambu Savari that Mysuru city lights up for is a sight to behold. The palace is usually lit with 1 lakh lamps, that is 100,000 lamps. Every year, there are more tourists that gather here at Mysuru to witness the Dasara festival. In fact, some reports put the statistics of the number of visitors here as 6 million annual holiday, and those who are visiting the city of Mysore to exclusively witness the Mysuru Dussehra 2020, we welcome you once more. The inauguration of Dasara festivities this year took place at Chamundi Hill. In fact, this year's festival was inaugurated by a renowned medical professional. This is something that you see on your screens. Of course, this year the number of visitors or the fact that the public has not been allowed but will watch from the comfort of their homes this live telecast of the Mysuru Dussehra 2020. Now the palace that you see before your eyes, this whole compound, this beautiful complex that you watch unfold before your eyes is the Ambavilla Palace. Mysuru is known as the city of palaces. There are 7 of them, and even as we speak, you can see a bus that has pulled into the Ambavilla Palace in Mysuru. All the dignitaries who are going to be inaugurating with the Nandi Dhaja festival in the next few minutes, including the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Shri B.S. Yediyurappa. You can see that the bus has already come into the palace. The auspicious moment for the inauguration of Jambu Savari, the Mysuru Dussehra festivities, is all set to begin in the next few minutes. You can see for yourself Shri B.S. Yediyurappa, the Chief Minister of Karnataka, as the bus takes a turn through the main entrance of the beautiful Ambavilla Palace. In fact, the palace itself has a very interesting history, and I shall tell you more about it as we go. During the period of Mummadi Krishnaraja Wadiyar, the old magnificent wooden palace was built. It was a disaster that led to the rebuilding of this palace. For now, before the Ambavilla Palace, a very limited number of guests, all of them following the COVID protocol, wearing their masks and also the face mask, as the dignitaries will now alight from the bus, and the procession will begin once the Nandi Dhaja ceremony will take place. The Wadayars, the Mysuru royals, have a glorious history dating up to 400 years. And the Ambavilla Palace that we get to see today is a witness to that very crucial piece of history of the south of our great country. Mr. Yediyurappa, meanwhile, greeting the visitors. The folk dancers are right now all set to perform the Veeragase dances. The pomp and splendor, though of course toned down by the festival, will now culminate in the Nandi Dhaja ceremony. For years together, this has been the parampare, as we call it, the tradition of the Nandi Dhaja ceremony. And once it is inaugurated by the Chief Minister, Shri B.S. Yediyurappa of Karnataka, now the puja is also being performed. We can also see people lining up before the Nandi Dhaja. It is a very important ritual that marks the beginning of the Dasara festivities. Even as the Chief Minister gets ready for the Nandi Dhaja ceremony and inauguration, there are artists who are performing and who will bring to us the celebrations via their own folk dances. Some of them are very, very ancient dance forms of Karnataka. Shri Mahadevappa and team, Shri Malleshaya and team with the Veeragase, and Shri K.N. Mahesh and team. But for now, let us witness the Nandi Dhaja ceremony. Prayers and offerings are being offered to the Nandi Dhaja. Fruits, flowers, fragrances and the auspicious Arati. As we can see, the offering of the flowers to the Nandi Dhaja by those who have assembled at that spot inside the royal Ambavilla Palace of Mysore. This marks the beginning of what is fondly called and loved by the people of Karnataka and also the entire people of the country as Jambu Savari. The Mysore Dussehra festivities begin. Shri Yediyurappa now greeting all the guests and visitors as he makes his way to be seated from where all the festivities can be watched. The Chief Minister, Shri Yediyurappa, may speak a few words. Meanwhile, the people of Karnataka, for whom this also marks a very emotional moment year on year, this is the 410th year of the Dasara Habba festivities in the Mysore Palace, the Jambu Savari.
ಇದೀಗ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಮಾತನಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಅದರದೇ ಆದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಐತಿಹಾಸಿಕ ಪರಂಪರೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಾಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಕ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆ, ಭಾರತೀಯ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಯ ಚರಿತ್ರೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಕಾಲ ನಡೆದು ಬಂದಿರುವ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಹಬ್ಬ ಕಾಣಲು ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಹಳ ಅಪರೂಪ. ಕನ್ನಡ ನಾಡಿನ ಕಲೆ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿ ನಿರ್ಮಿಸುವ ದೇಶ ವಿದೇಶದ ಜನರ ಆಕರ್ಷಿಸುವ ದಸರಾ ಹಬ್ಬವನ್ನು ಈ ಬಾರಿ ಕೋವಿಡ್-19 ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸರಳವಾಗಿ ಆಚರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸಂಪ್ರದಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸೀಮಿತವಾಗಿ ಆಚರಣೆ ಮಾಡುವುದು ಈ ಬಾರಿ ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯವಾಗಿದ್ದು, ಜನಸಂದಣಿ ಸೇರಿದಂತೆ ದಸರಾ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಿದ್ದ ಬಹುತೇಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯವಾಗಿ ರದ್ದುಪಡಿಸಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ದುಷ್ಟ ಸಂಹಾರ ಶಿಷ್ಟರನ್ನು ಕಾಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯ ನಾಡ ಹಬ್ಬ ಇದು. ಹೊಸ ಚೈತನ್ಯ, ಉತ್ಸಾಹ, ಆತ್ಮವಿಶ್ವಾಸವನ್ನು ಮೂಡಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳಲು ನವರಾತ್ರಿ ಮುನ್ನುಡಿಯಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕೋವಿಡ್-19 ಅತಿವೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ನಾಡಿನ ಜನತೆ ಸಂಕಷ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆದರೆ ಇವುಗಳ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ನಾವು ವಿಜಯ ಸಾಧಿಸುತ್ತೇವೆ ಎಂಬ ವಿಶ್ವಾಸ ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಇದೆ. ಈ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಕೈಗೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕರು ಸಹ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಹಕರಿಸಿ ಮುನ್ನೆಚ್ಚರಿಕೆ ವಹಿಸಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನು ನಾನು ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಭಿನಂದಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಕೋವಿಡ್-19 ಪ್ರವಾಹದ ಸಂಕಟಗಳಿಂದ ನಾಡಿನ ಜನತೆಯನ್ನು ಪಾರು ಮಾಡಿ ಶಾಂತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸೌಹಾರ್ದತೆಯ ಜೊತೆಗೆ
ಸಂಕಷ್ಟ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸವಾಲಿನ ಪತ್ರ ಈಡಾಯಿತು. ಸಂಕಷ್ಟ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆದಂತ ಈ ಒಂದು ಸವಾಲಿನ ಪತ್ರ ಈಗ ನಡೀತಿದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಈಗ 9 ದಿನವೂ ಕೂಡ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಡೆದಿದೆ?
ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ನಮ್ದೇನು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ನಿಶ್ಚಯ ನಡೀತಿದೆ. ಈ ವರ್ಷ ಏನೇನು ಕೊರತೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನ ಸೇರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ವಿಜೃಂಭಣೆಯಿಂದ ಆಚರಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತಾಯಿ ಚಾಮುಂಡೇಶ್ವರಿ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ.
Mr. Yediyurappa telling and assuring the people of Karnataka that the state government has taken all measures to keep safety. The Chief Minister, Shri B.S. Yediyurappa, in his brief address, while offering prayers to Goddess Chamundeshwari, also reassuring the people that the state government has put in all measures to make sure that the protocol and the safety measures are in place, and of course the celebrations at the Mysore Ambavilla Palace continue with all the safety precautions, and that is something that he says that the public also needs to cooperate, and requesting everybody to make sure that they stay safe while celebrating the Dasara festival, which is called the Nada Habba, which means a state festival. After the Nandi Dhaja ceremony that we have just now witnessed, all the folk traditions, the dances, all that, the music that we can hear in the background, even as the Chief Minister leaves that spot to take his place. The inauguration of the Dasara festivities this year took place at the Chamundi Hill. For those who have been to Mysore, this beautiful hill and the palace that faces the Chamundi Hill, the east side, that is where the festivities began 10 days back, and it was inaugurated by Dr. C.N. Manjunath, the renowned cardiologist, head of the Jayadeva Institute of Cardiology. The Mysore Dussehra festival is indeed a glorious reminder of some of these traditions, and they are represented through the dance forms that we are just now getting to witness. The Veeragase, for instance, the one that just played out before the Nandi Dhaja. The Nandi Dhaja itself is a marker of how these festivities continue the 400-year tradition. The Veeragase that is now being performed. Karnataka is home to some of these very, very ancient dance forms, vibrant. All the folk dancers in their colorful gear and in their colors and with great energy, adding to the vibrancy of a festival which otherwise has had to see a very COVID-compliant version, unlike the earlier years. We would like to tell you that the artists who have been performing the Veeragase, as you watch them on the screen opposite the Ambavilla Palace, Mahadevappa and team, Shri Malleshaya and team, and also Shri K.N. Mahesh and the team. On the steps, people following social distancing, keeping their positions and getting all set to witness the Jambu Savari. The show of elephants who will now come onto the screen. Every year when we have about 20 elephants, this time we see 5 of them. We shall watch them as Abhimanyu, the chosen elephant to carry the howdah. Heritage Dasara is in fact what the footage that you are now watching, the grand old palace. His Highness Sri Jayachamarajendra Wadeyar, who presided over the elephant howdah. During the period of Mummadi Krishnaraja Wadeyar, the old magnificent wooden palace was built. In fact, a disaster took place at a grand wedding ceremony of Rajakumari Jayalakshmi Ammanni. The whole wooden palace is believed to have burned down to ashes due to the fire accident. But the then Maharaja Sri Nalwadi Krishnaraja Wadeyar decided to build a new fireproof palace. And that is a palace that we see to this day, commissioned to the architect Henry Irwin. The portrait that you see of Sri Nalavadi Krishnaraja Vodiyar, the Maharaja of Mysore from the Vodiyar dynasty, and the present palace, which was built for 15 years from 1897 to 1912. The whole architecture that you see on your screens is built in the Indo-Saracenic style, which means that it has borrowed also from the Rajput and Mughal traditions of architecture. The Mysore Dussehra 2020, all set now to witness the Jambu Savari after we saw the footage from the old palace which gave way to the new. Now the Chief Minister, Shri B.S. Yediyurappa, is being escorted by the security officials. All the dignitaries are now making their way right from the entrance of the Ambavilla Palace to the place from where he will witness all the processions and the tableau that are a hallmark of this world-famous Dasara festival. Each region of India celebrates this 10-day and 9 nights festival in its own way, and Mysuru has one of the most unique traditions that date back to the royals, the Vodiyars, who ruled over Mysore with such grace. The palace itself, as we were mentioning to you, is a fairly new structure, but the Mysore Dasara procession and that history dates back to the year 1610, from 17th September to the 27th of September that year. Literary festivals, wrestling contests, culture, music, dance, all these come together usually to mark the 10-day festivities at Mysuru. And this year, owing to the COVID precautions, this is the precaution and the festivities that we are seeing in a very unique remodeled manner, just so that people can watch it broadcast live from their homes. Some people, some of the locals, following the protocol, are at the palace premises watching how the Chief Minister will now take his place and the processions and the tableaus will follow. It is also being telecast across various channels of Doordarshan of South India. Yet again we get to see the Heritage Dasara, a beautiful sight. His Highness Sri Jayachamarajendra Vodiyar, who presided over these festivities. His own successor, Sri Srikantha Datta Narasimha Raja Vodiyar, who accompanied Sri Jayachamarajendra Vodiyar. In fact, he was the last ruler to grace the occasion of the grand procession, after which, in the recent years, it has been a portrait of the goddess of Mysuru, Chamundeshwari, who takes her place, her rightful place, her glorious place atop the elephant howdah. The howdah itself is made of pure gold. It weighs 750 kilos. Various elephants who are specially prepared to take on this royal role and honor. And this year it is going to be Abhimanyu who will carry the golden howdah on his back. How an elephant is prepared to take the howdah is in itself a very fascinating ritual. Right now, of course, we are getting to witness the heritage part of the Dasara, the footage. Many people in their black coats and the turban that we saw as part of the heritage Dasara. We are now back to seeing the new palace, that is the Ambavilla Palace. The way the structure of the Ambavilla Palace, which is drawn from various styles of architecture, is in itself a story for many, many people who are interested in architecture. It is open to the public during the normal times. It is a palace that is lit up with 100,000 bulbs and lights. For now, of course, the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Shri B.S. Yediyurappa, walked up to his place, after which the festivities and the various tableaus we will be able to witness. This year, the festivities are very simple, as we all can see. In fact, even apart from the Dasara festivities, the palace being lit is in itself a major tourist attraction. As we can see that the Chief Minister, along with his cabinet colleagues, the ministers in charge of Mysuru as a district and his other colleagues are making their way to the place that has been decked with flowers. In the background, very endearing sight, the Nadaswara is going to be taking place any moment, but meanwhile we could catch a glimpse of the elephants. And as I was telling you, that the elephants, the way they are transported from Nagarhole, the wildlife sanctuary, onto Mysuru to prepare them for their royal role during this festivities of Dasara is in itself a fascinating exercise. They have their own scheduled diets and medical observation teams are in place. For now, the Ambavilla Palace is in full view. The blend of the Hindu, Mughal, Rajput and Gothic style that we see. The palace itself is a 3-story stone structure, marble domes, and has a 145-foot 5-story tower. The palace is surrounded by a large garden, and the entrance gate and arch hold the emblem and coat of arms of the Kingdom of Mysuru, in which the motto can be seen written in Sanskrit, Na bhibheti kadachana, that is, never too afraid. The main complex of the Ambavilla Palace that we see before our eyes right now is 245 feet in length and 156 feet in width. There are fire extinguishing machines located in all parts of the palace in order to prevent any fire, given the fact that it witnessed such a huge incident over 100 odd years back. The palace in fact has 3 entrances: the east gate, the front gate, which is opened only during the Dasara and for dignitaries. The south entrance of the palace is open for the public, and the west entrance is again opened only during the Dasara. The 3-story stone building of fine grey granite with deep pink marble domes has a facade with several expansive arches and 2 smaller ones flanking the central arch. When you get a chance to visit the Mysuru Palace, you will see that above the central arch is a sculpture of Gaja Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, prosperity, fortune and the abundance that is marked by her elephants. And that is why elephants play such a crucial role in the Mysuru Dasara festivities. There are 3 major exclusive temple buildings within the old fort, and about 18 of them are right inside the palace heart building. The palace was built adjacent to the even older Parakala Mutt headquarters, whose leaders have remained the Rajagurus, are the royal teacher and guides of the Mysuru Vadiyars. The kings of Mysuru were devotees of goddess Chamundi or Chamundeshwari, and that is why we see the palace that faces the Chamundi hills. The palace itself houses 2 darbar halls, the ceremonial meeting halls of the royal court, and incorporates an array of courtyards, gardens and buildings. We welcome you once more. We welcome you to the inauguration of the Mysuru Dussehra festival, Goddess Chamundeshwari in all her glory. And now the dignitaries who make their way. The inaugural function that was held and was inaugurated very befittingly by Dr. C.N. Manjunath as a mark of respect to all the doctors and healthcare professionals, nurses who have done yeoman service this season, and therefore this was an occasion and offerings to Goddess Chamundeshwari by the guest of honor, the Chief Minister, Shri B.S. Yediyurappa, felicitating Dr. C.N. Manjunath, renowned cardiologist, head of the Jayadeva Institute of Technology. With the Mysore Peta, the turban, it was in fact an honor extended to the entire medical community with the inauguration by Dr. Manjunath. And now, the visual that you see was of the Chief Minister Shri B.S. Yediyurappa, who was honoured on the occasion. This year, in fact, a very unique function was also the felicitating of 6 COVID warriors who were specially given the Gaurava or the honour at the Dasara Habba inaugural. And now we are back at the present, where the elephants, 5 of them this time, instead of 20, but very, very ready, tayyar to do their role. The Bombay Dasara that we see is again a very, very unique part of the Mysore festivals. Almost all the households traditionally used to display the dolls, and this is a very special attraction. It is a traditional ceremony where dolls are decorated, prayers are offered, a rich story of mythology and puja that is performed at most of these homes. Very interesting stories that are depicted by these dolls, whether it is a story of the Mysore Maharaja and the royals, whether it is of common people, or whether it is a patta da gombe, as we call it, the marking of the king and the queen. So as we can see, in households, all the children, the women, they gather together, and the arati, the sacred fire, is offered by the women of the house to all the dolls who in fact bring to life the Mysore Dussehra. Yet again, another very interesting part is how the Ambavilla Palace, which is the first of its kind to be decorated with electric bulbs, and every weekend the palace lighting is a tourist attraction. What is interesting is its incandescent bulbs that are used to light these up. A light audit is conducted to see which are the faulty bulbs that need to be replaced. As we will watch some of the visuals of how the palace looks lit up at night, for now we get to see the elephants, and that is a sight to behold. Some of these elephants who are brought from various forests in Nagarhole, Dubare. These elephants were transported from Nagarhole on 2nd October 2020 to Mysuru after performing a puja, and the training started from acclimatizing them various in the palace vicinity, and loads of mud bags that were put on the back of the elephants during the practice session, and the weight is increased gradually according to the grand function. These are visuals of the rehearsal that the elephants performed during these during the rehearsals to the Dasara Habba itself. Abhimanyu, as we were telling you, but also the other 4 who are called as Nishani Ane. So some of the elephants who are Vijaya, that is the female elephant, 61 years old, from the Dubare camp. There is Kaveri, again who will carry the Ambari on the right side, a female of 42 years who has come from Dubare. There is also, besides Abhimanyu, there is Vikrama, who is 47 years old, who is a Norfolk elephant, known to be hard-working. The Mahat of the Vikrama elephant is J.K. Putta. The Kavadi or the caretaker is Hemant Kumar. As we witness all the elephants, Vikrama was captured in 1990 from the Dodabetta forest camp and participating in Dasara for the past 16 years, and from 2015 participating in the palace puja and rituals as the Pattada Ane of the royals. To tell you a little bit about Vijaya Samor, whose height is 2.29 meters and weighs 3,250 kilos, and she is very gentle in nature and was captured in Dubare forest range in 1963 and has been participating in the Dasara festivities for the last 13 years. Kaveri, yet another elephant. Recently, a couple of years back, the Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, was also in Mysore for the Science Congress, as well as the another landmark, which was the 100th year of the Mysore University, the Manas Gangotri, which is a seat of learning. Many people from across the world also come to Mysore to learn yoga. So all in all, it is a city that bestows upon people learning, wisdom. It's almost like the ancient, what the ancient texts say of Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. It is a city that dispels the darkness of ignorance. It is also a city presided over by Goddess Chamundeshwari, who keeps rekindling the people with messages of hope all the time. The Ashwadala, that is the force that we now see come into the picture. If there are children who are watching the procession from their television screens and they can, not wait to see those endearing elephants, and of course the 5 of them that we were mentioning to you who are part of the Dasara festivities this year, should make it a point to educate them, make them know more about the history of how the Dasara festivities include many of these gentle giants themselves. The Mysore Palace, that is the backdrop of these festivities. Built in the Indo-Sarsanic style. The land on which the palace now stands was originally known as Puragiri and is now known as the Old Fort. To tell you a little bit about the history, even as we see the Howdah on our screens, Yaduraya built the first palace inside the Old Fort in the 14th century. The Yaduvamsha dynasty, as it is called. Now the structure itself was demolished and constructed multiple times, and the current structure that we see was constructed between 1897 and 1912 after the old palace was ablaze. Mysore Palace is one of the most famous tourist attractions in India. A little bit also about Maharaja Krishnaraja Vodiyar. Was the 24th Maharaja of the Kingdom of Mysore from 1894 until his death in 1940, and at the time of his death he was one of the world's wealthiest men, but also one of the most benevolent rulers, also believed to be a great patron of art, culture and music, also known to have been a philosopher king. In fact, was described by Paul Brunton as living the ideal, that he said, of a royal. Next, about Nalwadi Krishnaraja Vodiyar, or Jayachamarajendra Vodiyar. Many of these Mysore royals have contributed to the flowering of education. One such institution is in fact in Bangalore, the Indian Institute of Science, which itself is on a land that was donated by the Mysore royals. There are many interesting anecdotes that are associated with the Mysore royals. Mahatma Gandhi, who is believed to have praised the Maharaja of Mysore in 1925 for taking up spinning as seen as a benefit for himself as his own subjects. It was between 1894 and 1907 that His Highness Maharaja Shri Nalwadi Krishnaraja Wadiyar governed and ruled. Which is what makes the Mysore royals' history quite worthy of study. The Jagan Mohana Palace is also there in the vicinity. Yeah. Please tell me how many minutes, because few minutes andre it is little difficult for me. How many minutes? Yes, right now. And in fact, with this scene that we have seen of the Golden Howdah, the beautiful Ambavilla Palace, we come to a wrap of the Mysore Dussehra festivities, which one could say was this year's version, but certainly no indication of the way it marks with great glory and grandeur in the other years. It's been a pleasure bringing the Mysore Dussehra festivities of this year 2020. Thank you very much. It's now me, Vasanti Hari Prakash, saying namaskara to all of you.
ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని మీకు సమర్పిస్తున్నవారు భారత ప్రభుత్వ వ్యవసాయ మంత్రిత్వ శాఖ మరియు దూరదర్శన్.